Okay, how do we sharpen our spade bits? Maybe not that one, because I've got a broken tip. No, okay. Oh, maybe not that one, because that's in a bit of a state too. And maybe not that one, because it's got a bendy end. That ain't great either. Anyway, welcome to Wally Bois, and we're going to sharpen a couple of these spade bits just to show you how it's done. Now, there's various ways you can do it. You can do it on a bench grinder if you've got one, but if you haven't got a bench grinder, all you actually need is some form of flat file. This is a rhombic file, or just use an ordinary bastard file, or you could use a triangular file like this one here. Just don't use a round one. No, because that'd be silly. Well, what we're going to do first of all, we're going to run the file across the angled faces of this spade bit. In this case, we're going to be using this rhombic file here. The rhombic file is generally used for, it's a saw file, for saws with long teeth. Yeah, rhombic. A rhombic saw, okay? So all you've got to do is tighten everything down, make sure it doesn't move. You could clamp it to a saw horse or to your bench. What works quite well is literally to have a piece of wood with a hole drilled in it, or a V, so you can clamp it in the V. Otherwise, just use a vise like this one here, metal vise. And all I'm going to do is using my fingers as a guide. I'm going to be running the file in the direction of the file and literally use the angle as a guide. It's a spade bit, okay? You don't need anything that fancy. We're not trying to put an edge on it like we would do a hand plane, for instance. No, we're just going to put an edge on it and follow the angle that was already there. And we just do a few strokes like that. We run a finger across the back here. Yes, there's a burr. We're getting there. Is it all the way along? Does it look like you're actually creating that bevel all the way along, the same, uniform? Okay, well, that's pretty much there. So I'm going to turn it around and do the other face, because there's two cutting edges, you see, or two main cutting edges. And with those two cutting edges here, ideally they need to be the same height. So you don't want to keep filing down one side and then the other side is some higher. You'll soon notice that when you start using it, it'll just feel a bit odd. And one side will be cut before the other side. So the other side won't really be doing anything. And you want them to be the same, so both cutting edges are actually working for you. Now, the thing you've got to remember is, the more you file, the more you sharpen these spade bits like I'm doing here, the narrower, the smaller the hole it will drill. Seriously, yeah, I'll explain in a mo. Now, a spade bit such as this 32mm spade bit here would be 32mm at these two cutting faces there and there, these two edges, these two corners. It'll be 32mm across when it's new. But you see, that face and that face is not parallel. No, it tapers down. There's narrower here than it is there. Only by a tiny bit, yeah, but not even 0.5 millimetre. But it does mean that if, for instance, you're using 32mm dowel and you want to put dowel in a hole, what, 32mm, well, you might have a little bit of a job where you're ramming it in where you're flipping great man and wonder what's going on. Well, that'd be why. Because the hole's smaller. And it is. So, once you've ground these two faces and you've got a burr on them, just like you would when you're actually sharpening your plane irons, you need to get rid of the burr. Now, what I like to do, what I'll do is I'm going to bring this up there so you can see it. I've got my little, this isn't normally how I do it, but I'm trying to keep it in frame, move the camera, okay? All right, so we're going to put that in there like that. And I'm going to be using my diamond sharpening plate. You can use sandpaper if you like, on a flat plate. You use what you've got. We don't have to be snobbish about this, do we? All we want to do is create a tool that will create a hole. Now these things, these old spade bits, they're not position drills, are they? No. Sorry, did I screw it? No, they're not precision drills. They're literally there to create a rather rough hole. Spade bits do create rough holes. If you want neat holes, you'll be using a Forstner bit, you know, or even an auger bit, an auger bit, you know, a sharp one that is. Now, the thing is, you see, I've always used these for just whacking a hole through, so I get a cable through or a pipe through a joist or something like that when I was working in the old electrical game. Oh dear, they were the days. Oh, crikey, I had to crawl down little tiny spaces because I was always small, you see. Yeah, not anymore. I'd get stuck halfway, I would. You're not going to get me down that hole anymore. No, not about a load of lard to lubricate my body. No, oh, crikey, that'd be a sight. So anyway, I'm now flattening these two faces, that one and that one, just like that. No, there's no science about it. Just literally just flattening those two faces. That side there and that side there. And what that's doing is it's removing that that burr. Just what you would do if you were, honing a plane iron. And not just removing that burr, you're also sharpening making the edge that you made sharp, even sharper. Because obviously with a fine file such as this one, it's not going to be a perfectly smooth finish, is it? No. You'll get better finish, obviously, if you were using a diamond file. Yeah, definitely, you know. It'd be slower, though. But the thing is, you see, when you're out on site doing jobs, or, I don't know, the shops are closed and you can't get one, and you're trying to get on, you burnt all your spade bits going through oak joists, and you just can't get through. So you think, oh God, I have to wait until next weekend now because obviously you've got work this week. But if you had a means of sharpening those flat drill bits, you'd be back doing the job again, wouldn't you? And getting your cables through or your bits of pipe through or whatever you're trying to do with your flat drill bits. Yeah. Sometimes it's best just to say, okay, I'm not going to buy a new one. Let's just sharpen it. And once you start sharpening these tools, it becomes second nature to you. You know, these are quite old ones, these. I've got a set in the drawer that I tend to use most of the time. But if I'm doing anything rough, well, I don't want to take the edge off them, I'll use these. You know? And to be honest, they don't make much difference. Not much difference to them anyway. But some of these are better than others. Some are Irwin, some are just the cheapy type ones you get in these sets. You know, they still do the job. But you can always tell, though, because they're usually bent, like that one. Yeah. Whereas the harder ones, they snap. That's the difference, you see. Well, one of the differences. So now what's happened? Now the burr is gone. And it's going to be a little bit sharper as well at the same time. You might create a bit of a burr in the opposite direction. So you might have to just run a steel over it or the back end of a drill bit just to remove the burr that you might have created, which I have. I've literally created the burr in the opposite direction though. But that's normal, that's when you use sharpening plane irons, just drop them on your hand, or a piece of leather. There you go. A little bit more, walk back and forth, doesn't really matter. Whatever way you want to do it. And this actual diamond sharpener is quite blunt now, so you could use a newer one. Will that fit in there? Won't fit in there. Just put it on top of there. Now I'm using Windex here, like Windeling, but you could use water. But most of the time, actually, I use thin oil or even white spirit on my diamond sharpeners because a lot of diamond sharpeners, you see, they're basically electroplated steel, and that corrodes, and you're getting rusty diamond sharpeners. So it's not helpful. No. So now I'm using the finer one, but even though it's a lot finer, it's 3000 grit. This one, it's way too fine, ready for this job. It's actually taken off more metal because it's new. Or newer. It's sharper. Finer, but sharper. So I'm quite happy with that. Now, I'm making it look like it's going to take absolutely ages. It doesn't. It's really quick to do. But it's because I'm jabbering to you, Just plug that back in there. This tiny little Chinese vise. I can't remember where I got that from. I don't know why, though. A little swipe that way, and a little swipe that way. Like so. Like so. Oh, my dear missus is here. What, in the rain? Poor little things are all wet. Oh dear, Sid, you could have waited. Huh? Oh, woo, really? Do you hear what she just said? She's asking for my wood. I think she might mean firewood actually, but seriously, if that actually cuts a hole. I think so. 32 millimetre. I'm not going to vise it. Oh, crikey, I don't need to move the camera, that's handy. Now that's a hole I cut as a 40mm hole I done with the force. It's just a nice, neat hole. I also sharpened those. I might do another video about that. I've done loads of short videos on this topic, but never long. And I have to consider each platform as a different audience. Does it make sense? I think so. I hope so. Well, yeah, it's good. Apart from the battery's low. Really low. Apart from the battery being low, the actual hole, the telltale sign you see, is when the wood, yeah, that looks right, enters when the drill bit enters the wood. And there isn't too much, not too much fraying or splintering around that edge. Because quite often on the end grain, you get a nasty old, real notching out there, but that's not too bad. The Forstner is obviously better because it's designed that way. This one's a saw cut Forstner, it has teeth as well as the usual 2 blades for the Forstner bit, and creates a flat bottom hole, whereas the guide point on the actual flat drill bit, the spade bit, creates that deeper pointy hole. I wish I had more battery. So let's do one more. What time? It's 11 minutes. So I've got time to do one more. And I better go and help the missus. Okay, we'll do a little one. Let's do a skinny one, because the skinny one's actually harder to do than the big ones. Okay. Let's say, for instance, this one here. There's a 12 millimetre, so it's quite a bit smaller, but you've got less room on the cutting face, you see, to rest the actual sharpener. Now, you could, like I said, you could use a diamond sharpener such as this one. These aren't brilliant for it, because even though they've got a flat surface there, the round head still protrudes, so you wouldn't necessarily get right into that corner. And that's one of the problems when you sharpen these on a bench grinder. The corners of the bench grinder, over a period of time, they wear and they end up being a bit rounded. So you can't get them right in to those corners there. So you need to make sure that you're sharpening all the faces. I don't generally worry about these faces because they will generally go for anything anyway. It's these cutting faces here that are the important ones. Now this diamond sharpener is pretty darn worn. I usually use it for knives and that about and drive the missus mad. I'm sitting there with a knife sharpening it. I think she feels it's a little bit uncomfortable. So I'm going to use the rhombic file again because it is sharp. Or I could just use the saw file, which is very fine, but I think it's okay. But it's cutting. Not as well as I'd hoped. No, it's gone a bit. Well, that tells me that is quite hard steel still. So let's use the rhombic because it's new. Or newer. See, that's definitely cutting. And this rhombic file is just one I got from Timo. Now, Timo asked me, right, they contacted me regarding being for collaboration. So basically, they send me stuff and I'll show you guys and they don't give me any money. They just, I get to keep the stuff. The thing about Timo is a lot of stuff is, I think they should pay you because a lot of it's rubbish. That really is. Anyway, they gave me a link I had to click and they wanted me to basically sign my life away. Pretty much. They wanted my bank details, they wanted my credit card, no bank details, my credit card, whatever, bank card, and they want that information. Yet they're sending the stuff for free. Why do they need my bank details? It's dodgy as hell, isn't it? It really is. So no, I ain't done that. Now, as you know, the regulars to this channel will know that I've got a laser now. Yeah, and I've worried how to use it. So there will be quite a few videos about that laser coming very soon. But I've just been contacted by another company working with the same for the same manufacturer, contacting people like me. Anyway, they could send me another one. In this case, it's going to be the B1 though, and it's the biggest one they've got. I've got to sign a contract with them because it's quite an expensive thing, and it's a 40-watt laser. Well, this thing is going to be interesting because that can cut hardwoods. So that makes more sense on this channel. Other than, because the 20-watt one I've got is good, it can cut, but it can't cut hardwoods to that thickness that I want to do in one pass. And it's a narrow beam laser as well, so hopefully it'll be good. And anyway, they've said yes, so let's see what happens. I mean, at the moment we've been sorting out the room at the back there. So, okay, that's good. We've got the two faces now. Yeah, and all I've done is followed the angles that are already there. Now, bear in mind, if you have bought yourself bits like this one, flat bits like that one, they've got these little, like a crown, like these little peaks either side, almost like a crown sort of thing going on there. And then you've got these extra recessed grinds in the back there and there, yeah? They are a nightmare to sharpen. Now, if you are thinking long term that you're going to be sharpening your bits, not just throwing them away, avoid them. There ain't no real benefit of that anyway. That's just pointless. All you need is 2 sharp cutting faces and a pointy bit in the middle, and it will drill you a hole pretty damn quick. You ready, Bob? So I tend to avoid them. I've been looking for some new bits actually. I want some good quality ones that I've got my set in there, my Irwins, but they're more like a screw point type ones. They're not that easy to sharpen. That's one of the reasons why I pointed this out. They've got the peaks. But they're sort of like got the shoulders off the peaks as well. A bit bizarre. They're good though. They do a nice job. But I can't imagine me sharpening them. Finding a good quality one that's really simple like that, and, it's really quite difficult. I haven't found any yet that are easy to sharpen yourself. They don't want you to sharpen them, do they? They want you to just chuck them away. So okay, we've created these 2 faces now, ground faces, or not ground, filed faces, that will provide the primary sharp, the sharp edge. That's it. So let's get back to this over here. Oh, I'll do it on there instead. You can still see it, can't you? Right, we'll put it in that, probably a bit easier. Yeah, that'll do it. I can use my belly, you see, as a stabiliser. Yeah. So let's just flatten the faces again, just like we did earlier. Just this one's covered in rust. This one is. Obviously, hasn't been used for a very long time. Crikey, I've been sorting out my screwdriver bits. Now, I generally, for years, I've been buying like the DeWalt screwdriver bits. The bits that go into your. I'll show you. Those little things in India. Yeah, PZ2s. And for years I've been doing that. And buying the DeWalt ones, because they were cheap. 25 for a tenner, cheap as chips. But they don't last. And what I've been doing for years is I just chuck them in the drawer and get a new one and carry on. Or I might use that later or something. I just counted them. I had nearly 100 of these little bastards in my drawer. All useless. So what happens is you can't find the good ones because they're all mixed in with the old rubbishy ones. They all got mixed together. So I just got some new ones come because the DeWalt ones are not that good really. They lose their edge really quickly. And although they're cheap, but I tried another one today, which is actually what's in here. This is I think a saber cut. Yeah, that is, yes. Yeah, that's a saber cut. So far, this is the first one I put in, and it's still okay. It's not riding out like the other ones. So we'll see. I might do a review on that and see how good they are. Right. That's looking a lot better. Maybe like that, see? We're now getting sort of shiny areas near the actual cutting faces. That doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. It ain't going to change anything regarding your actual hole, is it? No. What are we up to? Crikey, I do like making long videos, don't I? Waffling away. Waffle, waffle, waffle. That's what I do. All right. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I think that's good. Just check that. Is the burr in the opposite direction? Probably. We can correct that using our diamond sharpener, like so. Like we were doing with the file. Good, that's good. Let's knock that off. That's it. Right, let's see what that's like. So we've done the 32, which created that hole reasonably well. Let's have a look at the number 12. Hopefully the battery don't run out completely. Yeah, fine. Is it riding over the top? It'll probably do a bit more work. Now, if for instance, I'll show you something. If you get this, where it's building up on these two faces here, like that, right, you might want to actually run the diamond sharpener over those faces, literally like this. Remember, they are angled. They're not perpendicular to the face. They are also a potential cutting face. I'd say it's more about clearing the hole, to be fair, but they are at an angle. So just follow the angle that's already there on the side, remembering you're going to reduce the width of the cut only fractionally, just by a little tiny bit. That's better. Until you feel it's created a bit of an edge. Don't overdo it, because it'll be a 10mm bit, not a 12. I just sat down now and thought, oh, let's record it. I've got to sharpen a few bits up. That's it. That's loads better. I don't know if this drill's going to make it. Might do, might not. We'll see. Oh, God, that's better. Yeah, that's definitely better. Yeah, so it's those two flats on either side as well, but they're not perpendicular. They are actually at an angle. I don't know if you can see that there. Where's the hole? I won't focus on that, is it? What am I doing? Anyway, that's what I did to sharpen my flat drill bits, and it's really, really easy. And just to overview what I've just been doing, I literally just followed the angles that were already there. There's no real precision in it. You just got to follow those angles and just file them too. You can do the point as well if you want. Just follow the angles again. And then flatten the two flat sides, because you will create a burr. And the thing is, you see, when you use a file, it's not going to be a smooth grind that you're putting on there with a file. That will be notchy. So when you clean up the back face, at least the backs, those little notches are going to be they're going to be polished off, be sharper. I'll make it sharper, and it'll cut faster. Now, I've done this for donkeys years. Some of these bits are flipping yonks old, and I've used them again and again and again, and normally going through joists, putting cables through and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm a tight ass, you see. So whenever I can, I try and save a bit of money. So I use a flat file or a rhombic file I've used here. I'm only using this one really because it's sharp. And as you see the profile of that, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever to the to sharpening your flat drill bits. You could use one of these retractable kind of pocket diamond sharpeners, not the round one like so. This one has a flat face and the rest of it is round, although the round can interfere with your sharpening. But if that's what you got, go with it. You know, or one of these cheap ass flat plates that cost about €6 from Timo or Amazon, places like that. You know, I know, Amazon. Crikey, do you have a lot of choice? Not when you live here. We're in the middle of nowhere, you see, then there are real options. Unless you want to spend an absolute fortune. Right, what other options are there? Yeah, saw file is another way of doing it. That you could even get some sandpaper, glue it down, and use that on a board and actually do it like so. That would work as well. But memory paper, glued down. Won't last long though. No, it won't. So anyway, that's how I sharpen my flat drill bits, and that certainly looks better, than that one, for instance, or crikey, or that one, clearly that one. But they're all sharpened up. They're just simple things, really, really simple. Anyway, time for me to go. So I'm gonna say toodaloo, but please hit the old like button, because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket. That's only if you do the subscribe button, though. Actually, it's a good point. Subscribe and the little bell icon, yeah. Because then you'll get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. Anyway, for now, though, toodaloo.